If these videos offend you, as the great Eminem has said, I just don't give a fuck. Hey Bruins fans mad at Don Sweeney, are you retarded? Are you really that upset with the trades that happened today? You have to be an inbred fucking moron to think that Don Sweeney made bad trades today.
Oh, they traded Justin Brazeau. He was so big and physical and he had so many nice tricks.
Shut up, he had cement shoes. 4-year-old, 6-year-old could outskate Justin Brazeau. Don Sweeney somehow managed to make an ECHL player have NHL value and get multiple pieces back. If you think that's a bad trade, you're a fucking idiot. And then you want to talk about the rest of the trades? Okay, let's talk about it. Brandon Carlo getting traded to Toronto. Let's just say it how it is, you dumb fucks. You all hated Brandon Carlo, Bruins fans. In the Facebook groups, in the Twitter little pages I see, y'all love to talk shit about Brandon Carlo, but then when you trade him to the Toronto Maple Leafs for a first-round pick and Fraser Minten, suddenly this guy's become a Norris candidate. Can you please stop being such massive hypocrites? I liked Brandon Carlo, but this is a good return because let's just call it what it is, Bruins fans. The Boston Bruins are dog shit. They are not a good team. They are terrible. They are basura, trash, awful to watch. They can't score. They can't defend, and their goaltenders can't stop f***ing beach balls. So what did you want the Bruins to do? Just reinvest and keep all the same shitters? And then the Charlie Coyle trade that happened to Colorado. Some Bruins fans were upset about that. You have to be a idiot to not realize the Bruins won that trade. You traded Charlie Coyle. I repeat, Charlie, I'm from Weymouth Coyle, who cannot bury a biscuit, for Casey Middlestat, who has better stats this year, a prospect, and a draft pick. The Bruins fleeced the Avalanche in that trade. There is no other interpretation unless you are in a special needs course. And then I see the whining.
Oh my god, they traded the captain, Brad Marchand. He's our leader.
Oh, what? The man that licks everybody? Yeah, the guy that sucks now? The guy that just isn't the same player? And I respect what he did. He helped the Bruins win a championship. He had the quote-unquote perfection line. That's all cute. But right now, Brad Marchand is a third liner at best. He has had multiple surgeries. He is no longer the same player. Getting anything for Brad Marchand, whether it's reportedly a conditional first or a second round pick, is a massive return on an expiring contract. And quite frankly, Don Sweeney is a genius. Don Sweeney killed it the last couple days. He understood this team is garbage. This team, even if they somehow magically made the playoffs, would get bent over like Meek Mill at a Diddy party. They're not good, Bruins fans. Accept that. It's time for a rebuild. I hate to tell it to you new fans. This happens from time to time. As watching the Bruins in the late 90s, early 2000s and seeing terrible product year after year, considering the 15 years of excellence we have seen from the Bruins. Of course there is gonna be a time where you have to retool or rebuild. Sweeney brought in draft picks. He has brought in younger prospects. He's trying to deepen our pool of prospects. If you are upset about today, you do not know hockey. You just want the Bruins to be the New York Islanders. The definition of mid. That's what would have happened if the Bruins retained all of these players. Don Sweeney, I salute you. Thank God you sold these pieces, because quite frankly, watching the garbage I've had to watch this season, it was time for a change. So like the video, comment if you want. If not, I don't care. How stupid does Carolina feel right now? They ended up trading Mikko Rantanen to the Dallas Stars for 2 first-round picks and Stankoven. And listen, I think that's a good return considering Mikko Rantanen would have rather jettisoned himself into the sun than play in shitty Carolina. But this is just an indication of how stupid the general manager is in Carolina. Why in the would you trade Martin Necas for Mikko Rantanen when you had a year on Necas' deal? Either he failed basic mathematics in the 4th grade, or he truly thought that Carolina of all places was a destination. I mean, the only desirable thing about Carolina is probably the taxes. Outside of that, I mean, what's the big attraction there? The woods? The meth? The moonshine? Really? Who wants to be in Carolina? I would also say this. I like Rob Brindamore's defensive system. I think he brings out the best in mediocre players, but it seems like for whatever reason, the elite level talent is just never able to flourish there. I thought Mikko Rantanen would be able to bring out the best in Sebastian Aho and Svechnikov, but unfortunately, like the Monstars, the Carolina Hurricanes suck away all offensive talent from their forwards. It's actually quite impressive to do, in my personal opinion. I mean, let's just call it what it is. The Carolina Hurricanes got hosed. Yeah, they got 2 first-round picks, but that's not a sure thing. They gave up Martin Necas, a sure thing for Rantanen. Colorado won that deal, and then you get Rantanen to sign a long-term deal in Dallas, and you give up 2 draft picks and Stankoven, who's a nice player, but he's nowhere near the quality of a guy like Rantanen. Eric Tulsky seems like a very bright individual when it comes to things outside of hockey. Worked in the tech industry, holds 27 patents. All of that brilliance does not mean he is a good general manager. He has had a rough year. So hit that like button, comment, subscribe if you want. If you don't, I really don't care.
Carolina sucks!
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was your first time getting pegged.
The Jets are about to peg the NHL. Let's just call it what it is, man. Best team in the NHL, have the best goalie on the planet right now, very good defense, great offense, acquire a good depth forward in Brandon Tanev, and they acquire another defenseman in Luke Schenn. The Winnipeg Jets are setting themselves up beautifully to go on a deep run here. But I will warn you, Winnipeg fans, this is your shot, your one moment. You capture it, just let it slip. For me, when it comes to Winnipeg, they have all the tools that they would need to succeed. The only issue with Winnipeg is that it's Winnipeg. It's a miserable place to live, and the biggest export out of Winnipeg is depression. So yes, a lot of players aren't really enticed to stay in Winnipeg. But looking at this roster, they look really good, and it's going to be very difficult to beat them in a 7-game series. A lot of the top teams in the Western Conference have added some pieces to try to go on a deep Stanley Cup run. So this isn't a sure thing by any stretch of the imagination. But if the Winnipeg Jets are going to win a Stanley Cup, it's going to be this year. They have the offensive output up front in lines 1 through 4, and they added another good defenseman in Luke Schenn, and they have one of the best goaltenders in the world in Connor Hellebuck. If the Jets do not win this year, I don't know if they'll ever win. Like, comment, and subscribe, and if you don't, I really don't care.